which screen protector is best for you and your needs. I'm going to show you 3 brands in this video that I have been using over the past 3 years, going through the pros and cons. Paperlike, Astropad, and PenTips are all brands centered around illustrators and digital artists and letterers, so if that fits you, I hope this will be helpful. By the way, all of the products are linked down in the description for you to check out at any time. I am not being paid by any of these companies to make this video. I am doing this all on my own. I am an affiliate for all 3 of them because they're all products that I do love. If you want to check them out for yourself, it's all in the description. First up is the Paperlike, and like many of you, this was probably my first screen protective experience into the artist or the digital artist world. Let's get started with the pros. The first pro is that it really does live up to the claim of being a paper-like feel. Feels a lot better to draw on than just the glass of the iPad. The second thing I like about Paperlike is that you get 2 screen protectors, which is great. For me, this works because both my wife and I are digital artists, and so it makes sense to get one pack that has 2 because we each have the same iPad, and so that works out for us. The third pro is that Paperlike does go the extra mile and send you a ton of little cleaning bits and bobs, like a wet cleaning wipe and little stickers to get dust pieces off, and it's nice to have all of that stuff. Whereas both Astropad and PenTips don't send you anything else to help clean the screen. Now for the cons of the Paperlike. The installation of the screen protector is awful. I'm not gonna lie about it. It's a pain every time I try to install this thing.
This is like impossible.
You have to like tape little pieces down on the left side and then line it up perfectly, and when you push it over, sometimes it's not aligned correctly, and it's a pain. I have talked to the owner before about this specific thing. Great guy. I know he is very much trying to create products for artists and very much cares about what people think, and I have made this point about how the installation process is really detracting from the overall quality of the product. I do also understand that this is a protective adhesive screen that is going to be staying on your iPad for a long time versus the magnetic ones that you can just take off. Now, the second flaw is that it scratches quite easily. This is actually a pain point my wife made after just 1 day of using the most recent version. It really left a lot of marks on the screen, which can be pretty annoying if you're gonna do anything else like browse or watch YouTube. I thought this might have been a flaw for like the earlier versions of the Paperlike, but it was upsetting to see that it's still happening, and that was without using a metal tip at the end of the Apple Pencil. And lastly, and somewhat related, I know a lot of people have complained about the grain and the vignetting that happens when the Paperlike is on your screen. I've seen some pretty harsh reviews about this, and my take is definitely not that intense. I do think it's annoying, but I did buy this Paperlike to draw on, and I knew there would be some compromise there because it is a textured screen. So it is helpful to have that knowledge going in, that you're not buying a perfectly clear window-like screen protector. Next up is Astropad, and this is a magnetic screen protector that just snaps on to your screen, and you can take it on and off at will. As for the pros, first, I love how easy it is to adhere and get started. Even if you end up getting it wrong, you can just pick it up and try again. Secondly, the texture. I actually do prefer the feeling of Astropad over Paperlike, and it's always fun to draw on. The third pro is that Astropad gives you these little metal Apple Pencil tips that you can use, which are pretty cool. I'm not fully convinced that it makes a large difference in terms of what's happening in your drawing app, but in terms of how it feels, it is a pretty cool thing that you can test back and forth to see the difference, and you don't have to pay extra for it because Astropad is already giving them to you. All right, now for the cons. With Astropad, you only get 1 screen protector versus Paperlike where you're gonna get 2. And I do think with how easy it is to put on and take off the screen protector, it can probably get worn out a little easier, and it is more susceptible to dust and grime getting on it, and so it would be nice to see an extra spare screen protector, especially for the price being pretty much the same as what Paperlike costs. Secondly, there are times when you're going to attach it to the screen and certain areas are just not really fully flush, not necessarily aligned, but just some bits bits of where the edges line up, sometimes it maybe not is going to feel flush. This isn't impeding performance at all, especially since you don't really draw towards the very end bezel. It can make it a little bit annoying when putting it in an iPad case because you may get the little flap side of it. You just need to make sure that you're going to take it off and realign it and put it back on, which is why I'm assuming they made this magnetic in the first place. Lastly, similar to the Paperlike, the Astropad does have some grain and brightness dimming that takes place when it's on the screen. I'm not gonna lie, it's almost the same. But if you're really wanting to watch a YouTube video or a movie or something, you can just take it off. That is the nice thing about the magnetic screen protectors. You can just put it back in its nice little protective sleeve and then wait until you need to use it at a later time. All right, finally, let's talk about the PenTips Penmat. Installation wise, it's pretty much exactly the same as the Astropad with the magnetic strips around the edges. For the pros, first I'll say I was pleasantly surprised with how the Penmat magnetic strips feel stronger versus the Astropad magnets. Like I was lining it up and to put it on, it all but snapped to the iPad without any really prompting or force at all. So that was nice to see, and it definitely feels like it is a bit more flush with the screen than Astropad's. I think overall size-wise, it feels a little bit smaller than the Astropad screen protector. So you can argue that there's more or less room for error when installing it based on that size. Secondly, the Penmat claims there is a little hidden fold in the top left corner that makes it easier for you to pick it up to take it off or to realign it. I did need to realign it because, again, with the overall size, I was lining it up from the very bottom flush and then like attaching it to the top, and I noticed there was a lot more space at the top, so I did need to take it off. I couldn't really tell if there was an extra little flap in the top left corner or not. I still had to work my nail underneath it quite a bit, but either way, it was easy enough to take off and put back on, so that was a plus. Thirdly, I can't be exactly sure, but the grain and dimness for this one feels a little bit less than both the Astropad and the Paperlike. I mean, across them all, they're pretty much equal. You're putting a screen protector over your LCD massively bright screen. So there is going to be some grain involved. There's going to be some matting that takes place. And unless you get something like tempered glass, which is like a window, then you're going to have something that is more matte and noticeable. And so if you get a tempered glass, it's beside the point because then you'd be drawing on like a screen feeling thing versus like a matte screen protector. All right, let's talk about the cons of the Penmat. Above all else, for some reason, the Penmat just attracts smudges. It's not scratches, but for whatever reason, I guess like the grease or the oil on your hands and your fingers just make these markings across the matte screen, which you're gonna need to go and grab a cloth to wipe them away, which it does work. They will pretty much go away instantly when you wipe them. But it is very annoying considering the Paperlike and the Astropad both don't really have that kind of oily, smudgy issue. By the way, I've had a lot of success with this brand right here of a screen cleaner, and it is specifically formulated for Apple, Mac, Windows, Android devices, for technological devices, and it comes with this very nice microfiber cloth. Of course, you can buy these for like almost nothing, but I do love the combo that comes together with this, and before I put any of these screen protectors on, I'm always going to give it a little bit of a clean. So if you want to check that out, the link is in the description. The second con for the Penmat, and again, this could be a pro for you, is that the sizing is just a tad shorter in overall dimension to the Paperlike or Astropad. Doesn't go all the way to the very edge of the bezel, and while that is actually helpful for you when you need to put it in a case, it's kind of made lining it up a little bit harder. And anyway, I found myself trying to line it up, like I mentioned, from the very bottom, and then when I put it on the top, there was a whole lot of space across the top bezel, and I had to take it off and redo it. So I think there is a little bit of an overall size difference to be aware of. So what is the result? Which of the three screen protectors is better? Well, for Paperlike versus Astropad, I do still think that Astropad wins, just based on the ease of application and because I was not really pleased with how many scratches and bubbles the Paperlike had after such a short use. Now, Paperlike's other products are incredible. I actually love their folio bumper case. This is my go-to case of choice, which has nice reinforced silicone bumpers around it. Put your Apple Pencil in this and store it. I did a video on this already. So Paperlike makes incredible products. For Paperlike versus the Penmat, this one is tough because I do think that the Penmat is better applicationally. It's easy to put on, but for drawing, I do feel like they're pretty similar. So this is going to depend on whether you want a fully adhesive screen that's going to stay on your iPad or your tablet for a while, or whether you want the ability to take it on and off. For me, I am going to choose the Penmat mainly because I do think that there's a little bit less grain and noise that's coming through on the screen versus the Paperlike. For the Astropad versus the Penmat, this is also tough because they're almost identical in application and function. And I know this is a dumb reason, but I have always just really liked how the Astropad sounds when drawing. So I'm gonna go with Astropad over the Penmat, but hey, if they can figure out that smudge issue, maybe I'll have a little bit of a different opinion in the future. Honestly, I think you're gonna be happy with any of these products if you're intending to draw or illustrate on your iPad or tablet, because that is what these products are for. If you're just looking for an overall screen protector like tempered glass or something like that, then you can just go on Amazon, find one of those cheap ones, because these are meant to have that tactile paperly feel. These companies are run by creative people who are trying to solve their own problem, which is making products to make the digital artistic process easier. And I really respect that. And they each all have a full suite of other products that you should go and check out. And I love all of them. Like I said, I'm an affiliate for all of these companies. For Paperlike, I really love using the folio case and the gripper. And they have this other kind of cleaning tool that's really neat. For PenTips, I really love their ink metal Apple Pencil tips that just make drawing feel a lot better, especially if you're used to drawing with like a ballpoint pen or something. And I absolutely love their Procreate keyboard, which is very great for using different shortcuts, and it makes the drawing process a lot faster. For Astropad, I really do commonly keep one of the screen protectors on hand because they are so easy to just put on and take off. And I also have their portable laptop stand because it's super efficient, super small. I can throw it in the car, throw it in my bag so that I can use it with my iPad or my laptop. So I think there is something that you will come to love for each of these brands, even if you don't prefer their screen protectors. But I hope you have a little bit better of an idea of what you're looking for. And if this video was helpful for you, I would appreciate if you gave it a like and if you would subscribe to the channel, because I am going to be doing some more product specific stuff like this. And then I would love for you to let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you like these products? Have you used them? If you didn't like them, tell me what you didn't like about them. Is there an alternative that I should know about? I would love to know down in the comments what your thoughts are. And don't forget to check out some of my other videos where I talk about products like that keyboard for the Procreate app and like other products for, iPad cases and all that kind of stuff. You can find that on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.